What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Thursday night triple threat. Big Mike's fed in the house. What's up, fellas? Good evening to you guys. What's going on?
Not much, man. Just enjoying some wrestling. Yes, sir.
Man, there's so much wrestling, man. We got a lot to get into. I don't know how we're going to pull it off, but we're going to do our best, man. But shout out to all of our listeners who are rolling with us, man. We've been getting comments from you guys on all the socials and especially on X and Facebook. And we are excited about you guys joining us. If you guys are wrestling fans or you just casual, welcome to the Thursday Night Triple Threat, your pre-PLE for your professional wrestling love. We're going to recap a couple of shows that happened last weekend. We got some real pointed thoughts about those. Maybe even a couple of debates going on about what's going to happen in here tonight. And then, talk about some stuff in the storyline world, what's going on in WWE, AEW, and I think Sped might talk about TNA if we have some time to get into it. So please absolutely like, share, subscribe to the show, and join us for the ride. Don't get bored. Ask any kind of questions you have. We'll do our best to answer those, but we are excited about you guys being with us. And what's up, Lady Alpha in the house? Hey, how you doing out there? Thank you for joining us and supporting us. You always do that. Probably one of our most faithful supporters out here, man. So we appreciate you so much.
Definitely.
She's dropping the knowledge here, liking and subscribing. It kind of helps out what we're trying to accomplish long term. So thank you for doing that. And look here, look at this. Herb of the Herb and Rod podcast, and I'm here. There's nothing casual about me. All right, 3-piece suit, baby. I hear you. I'm with you. I love it. I love it. We had a poll question that Big Mike dropped on. I think it was on Twitter only, or just on.
It was on Twitter. Yeah, it's Twitter a couple days ago. Yeah.
Okay. So Big Mike dropped a poll question on Twitter based on the announcement that was made by the legendary, I believe, 15-time world champion John Cena.
16.
16.
He 16. Yep. Yeah. He's at 16. That's because that's one of the debates. Is he gonna go for 17 next year in his farewell tour?
I asked the same question he did. I was like, really? 16? Who did he beat for 16?
I didn't know he tied Slick Rick. That's why I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought he was only at 15. And everybody's like, oh, no, he's at 16. Like, oh.
Yeah, one of you guys
he got 16. He got 16 and he went for 17, but that was when the whole Jon Stewart thing where Jon Stewart interfered and cost him his match because he didn't, because then that was John Cena or Jon Stewart's whole reasoning behind it was he didn't want him to beat Ric Flair's record. So I don't remember exactly who he beat, but I remember that storyline because I always thought it was kind of dumb for Jon Stewart to come in and just say, well, I didn't want you to beat Ric Flair, so I interfered in your match. So I was just like, okay.
Yeah, that's
weird.
That's nuts. That's not just weird, it's nuts. But the question was, what's your favorite John Cena match? And that just stirred up a lot of thoughts because there's been so many matches that I think people would pick. I know I have my choice, and I'll probably share that a little later on in the show. And you guys got yours. If you don't have it, or you got time to kind of pull something that you think was pretty awesome, but I got the poll question itself in the comment section for you guys to refer to. But Big Mike's poll question for the show was, what is your favorite John Cena match? There should be plenty of options, but what's your absolute favorite? If you can tell us why, even better. Got some more comments coming through. Herb says, Jon Stewart from The Daily Show is wrestling. I missed a lot. No, he's not wrestling. He's just getting involved in stuff. This was many, many years ago, but it was nothing. In my opinion, it wasn't noteworthy.
Yeah, he was a guest host on a wrestling show, and he just interfered with the match. So yeah, no, he's definitely not wrestling. He'd probably die. He's not in the best shape to be taking bumps and things like that.
Without question,
he's out of win.
He's not able to do that whatsoever. Oh man! So overall thoughts: we had Money in the Bank and we had a Heat Wave. Let's try to walk through it a little bit because we got a little bit of time. Kind of walk through that mindset a little bit. I know we're gonna break down things that we liked about both of them, but just overall, which pay-per-view out of the two of them did you like? And then let's kind of get into the why, because we got some different opinions about which one we thought was good. So go ahead and jump into that. But I'll do a little bit of maintenance out here.
I'll let you go first, Speed. Go ahead.
I like Money in the Bank slightly, and I mean slightly better than Heat Wave.
How slightly talking?
I'm talking like it was 49-50, like scale 50-49. Sorry, or God damn it! Oh, dang it! Either way, it was, sorry, but I like Money in the Bank better because the women's Money in the Bank for me was the highlight of the night. Right, that was the match of the night in my book. You know, you had Zoe going through the ladder head first. I still want to know if this chick is okay. All right, everybody's all
I had questions because that was a nice little bump and
that was a huge bump. I mean, you saw how Io was all like "ow" type of deal, yeah, like she was hurting too. But if you saw the overhead camera view of when Tiffany pushed Chelsea, right? That the way she had to jump to get to the tables, Chelsea, they all put on one heck of a match. All right. And it was, to me, the match of the night. Beat the men's Money in the Bank way, way too easy. All right. But then what really set it apart was the storytelling with the Solo and the Bloodline, you know, versus Cody and Randy and Kevin Owens. And that's what set this apart for me. I don't get it twisted. Heatwave was phenomenal, top to bottom. Phenomenal. You can't beat Oba's entrance. That dude the whole way through. I loved it. All right. But he destroyed Wesley, and I don't think Wesley, he should just stay in the tag team division now until Oba's done with the mid-card area, you know? But
I got a question for you now. When you watch Money, just historically now, when you watch Money in the Bank, do you judge the entire pay-per-view by the Money in the Bank match? Or just no? Okay.
No. Actually,
Big Mike.
No, I mean it's about the whole card. I mean that obviously takes effect on it.
Yep.
You know, it can improve or improve or negatively affect the outcome of what I think overall, but it's not the end all be all.
No, but I think this was actually female Money in the Bank wise. This was one of the better ones that we got. You know, it wasn't. You knew you had a couple of females that looked like they were ready to shine. Zoe Starks is right there in my book. She's ready to be if they introduced the mid-card IC title and US title for the women's, then Zoe Starks should be the number one pick for the IC title in my book. She could carry that mid-card division very well. And then Chelsea Green for the United States one, you know, because, I mean, come on.
I can't recall you guys' predictions, but who'd you guys predict to win that match? I don't remember.
I picked Chelsea.
Okay.
I picked Chelsea overall, but I thought, you know, Tiffany was kind of my second. I thought it was either one of those two for sure.
Yeah, it was.
But overall, I went with Chelsea.
Yeah,
because I had Chelsea too. I think the whole world thought it was going to be Chelsea because every part of that match was leaning toward it. You can see it. All the times you had a chance to climb the ladder. That doesn't happen unless somebody's invested in that particular.
And I will say I probably would have changed my prediction if I had gotten the earlier prediction correct about the Sami and Braun, because I thought Braun was going to take that, and I figured they were going to let one of those two win, either Chelsea or Sami being in Canada. You know, since they're kind of the home team, that kind of home field advantage. And as soon as Sami won, I knew that her chances of winning had dropped. Because just like at Clash at the Castle, they're not going to let all of the hometown people win, but they're not going to make all the hometown people lose either.
Yeah.
So as soon as the end of that match happened, I kind of thought to myself, oh, I'm going to be wrong on that one too. Which you know, if you guys follow me, my predictions for this card were horrible. I got one match right, and that's it.
Yeah, no, so, I feel that.
I'm looking to see what mine, because usually I'll get a graphic like this and I'll circle it and I'll drop it on the socials and stuff. But honestly, I didn't have time for that. So I'm trying to look back and see who I actually picked. So just to be honest about who I picked. But I think I'm trying to see who I missed. But let's keep talking about Money in the Bank. It'll come back to me. I think I might even have it written down somewhere.
So mine. So just while you're thinking of yours, so mine, the only one I got right was the Bloodline match. I kind of knew the Bloodline was going to win. Every other single match, I got completely wrong. So it wasn't the best night for me on predictions, but in full disclosure, I liked Heatwave more than Money in the Bank. That's what we were talking about with the dissension or the debate that's going on. Sped and I had a little debate earlier this week about which one was better. I obviously thought Heatwave was better.
I love a good debate.
A little debate.
And we can get into why I thought Heatwave was better, kind of when we talk about
We'll do
Heat
that.
Wave with some of those matches.
We're gonna do
But
that.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to take away from Money in the Bank. I don't want to take away from this.
Let's do that part first. Let's do
I
that
feel
part first.
bad.
Then we cut the Heat Wave.
I feel
Okay, no,
bad
that's
for
fine.
Damian Priest. All right, out of everybody on this on this card, Damian Priest is who I feel bad for the most. The guy had an incredible match going on with Seth Rollins to get it cut
Absolutely.
by Drew McIntyre, and then that gets cut by CM Punk. It kind of killed that match, And I felt you could see the disgust in his face. Like he's like, "Are you serious, man? Like this was a great match. It could have been match of the night until that happened,
That's fair.
And that's actually. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I got 3 matches right out of the 5. I didn't get the women's Money in the Bank. I didn't get that right. I didn't get the Bloodline. I said Bloodline were going to lose. And something else was going to happen after that, but that's not what took place. I got 2 of them wrong. The other 3 I got right. And I'm with you, Spade, on the Damian Priest. To have the title, it does a lot for you historically as a wrestler to hold the title. We know that, there's a science behind why they decided to do these things and everything, but I just feel like this is one of those title reigns that's probably not going to last very long.
No.
And it feels as though they don't want it to. And I'm not sure I understand that because there's a lot of story there that you can play on. There's a lot of things you can do, especially with the Finn Balor situation. There's a lot you can do there. I mean, honestly, Finn just signed a 5-year deal, so congratulations to him. He deserves that for sure.
He's gonna retire.
Definitely deserves to have. I mean, it's not like he never had a run at the title before. He's had main event Raw matches for the world title before, so it's not like he never had it before. But I just kind of foresee him getting a chance to do that, again during this new 5-year contract, especially if he's aligned with a certain female wrestler. It could be a nice angle, and they can kind of work that. But I feel like Damian Priest he's getting the shaft, and I feel like it's not. You kind of can see it because that whole match situation is like for Drew to try to cash in. That could have went a lot of different ways. It's fine how it went. You're kind of selling your story because SummerSlam's going to be here on August the 3rd, so you don't have a lot of time to build story. I get that, but man, I kind of would rather him have had a straight up match with Seth, and win that one clean, with his finisher, and just not, or at least a Judgment Day interference, anything but what we saw. I mean, he won still, but it's like wow, it made him look weak, and I wasn't super thrilled with that.
And to me, that's what a lot of the storyline decisions I didn't like with the whole card, and that's one of the reasons I liked Heatwave better. But this one in particular, there was probably a solid. I know of at least 3 off the top of my head different ways that you could have done Drew McIntyre and CM Punk and not messed up this match. One, you could have had Damian Priest win or Seth Rollins win either way in a clean match, whichever way you wanted to go. And that would have at least made Damian Priest look stronger, and then have maybe Drew McIntyre come in to try to cash in, and then CM Punk come in after that and then mess up the cash up. You still have kind of the same storyline except for the Seth Rollins part. Now, what they did on Monday kind of makes up for it a little bit with the promo that Seth and CM Punk had. That actually made up for a little bit to kind of put him into that situation a little bit more, especially with Drew not being there. If Drew's going to be gone for a couple weeks, which I think I heard is one of the reports that he may be gone for a week or two, to help him take care of his wife who's had some health issues. So I can understand that to that point. But on the night when I'm watching it, it made Damian Priest look weak because if I remember correctly, I think I heard a report where there's only been 1 title defense that Damian Priest has had with no interference. Every other interference has either been Judgment Day or CM Punk interference since he won the title at WrestleMania. So he hasn't won clean except for maybe the Jey Uso match, which was like one of the first defenses he had.
Yeah.
So he doesn't look like a strong champion because somebody's always getting involved in getting in his business. So he, now that he's going to face Gunther at SummerSlam, he's not as strong as he could be if they had let that match run clean. And either one, CM Punk could have cost Drew in the Money in the Bank match period and let somebody else take Money in the Bank. That would, to me, was what I thought would have been a better way to handle it. That way he doesn't get involved with the championship match at all. Then you let them have a straight up singles match. Let the winner come out strong. Then you have a very strong champion going up against Gunther, who is probably the strongest number one contender that we've had in a while for WWE. So that makes a money match at SummerSlam. And then you have, other money matches with Drew and CM Punk, or, any other way you could want to go with it, with Money in the Bank as well. But, that is one of the things, one of the reasons why Money in the Bank to me dropped down below Heatwave, because everything that happened in Heatwave made sense. There's a few things on this card that just didn't make sense to me story-wise. And a lot of it is my own kind of built-up anticipation. I expected somebody to come in during the men's match, whether it was LA Knight, whether it was the Wyatt Six, whether it was CM Punk, somebody to interfere in that match. And then when nothing happened, even though it was a good match, it had some really good spots. Especially Drew throwing the ladder at Jey Uso and hitting him in the face. That was really, it was different. But the anticipation was just there, and it didn't hit.
I always laugh and way too hard.
All those thoughts on Money in the Bank. We're gonna jump back to our poll question real quick. Big Mike dropped a poll question earlier this week, I think it was, that says, "What is your favorite John Cena match?" And Lady Alpha's chiming in. She has hers. She says, "My favorite is against Roman Reigns at No Mercy." It's an excellent call. I like that. Didn't mean to sound shocked. I mean, that was a really, really awesome match right there. I love that. Kind of felt like John Cena gave Roman Reigns an endorsement in that match. You know what I'm saying? By I think the best way to describe it was kind of a changing of the guard.
Yeah,
it was like John Cena represents the old school in this way, and it was passing the torch to Roman. That was a big. Matter of fact, Lady Alpha, that match is huge in the big scheme of what we're looking at right now in wrestling right now, because I don't think we could have got to the Roman that we have right now had it not been for stuff like that kind of match to kind of put Roman over. So that was a really big match. So I love that. Really, really awesome. Herb said, "I never seen Mike be wrong more than once in a row." All right. You got something to live up to, man.
Haley, you should have been there Saturday, because I was wrong a lot on Saturday.
Oh my goodness. Lady Alpha said it was a beautiful moment, without question. I love it. Okay. So back to Money in the Bank. You were talking about things you didn't understand.
Yeah. So
now,
I mean, with that,
are we talking about the breaker and the Sammy match? Is that one of the things you didn't understand?
That is completely one of the things I didn't understand, because they have built Braun Breaker up to be a unstoppable monster this entire time. And look, I've seen hate go around for anybody that says that, because it's like I'm downing Sami Zayn. I'm not. Sami Zayn, I like Sami Zayn as a wrestler. I don't think this has been the best championship reign, as you and I have discussed. But I think he's a great wrestler. He can be a good champion. But the way they've built Braun Breaker up, it just didn't make sense for, and especially to lose clean after one finisher. I even put on Twitter, they had the match on Sunday night on Heatwave with Lola Vice and Roxanne Perez, where it took Roxanne Perez 5 finishers, 4.5, because they kind of messed up one, so they had to redo it. So, but we'll say 5 finishers to beat Lola Vice, and that just made her look so much stronger, even in a loss.
Yep.
If Sammy had even done something like that, where he hit 3 haluva kicks, and then at least it makes Braun Breaker look stronger, where, okay, well, he takes more than that to beat him. Yep. I personally thought Braun Breaker should win, because I don't think he should have stunted that momentum that they've had growing. But, if that's the case, fine. There's still a way to make him look stronger after the match, even if he loses, than to just take 1 haluva kick and then he's done.
Yes.
I mean, it just makes him look so ordinary at that point.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to spend too much time, but you lost me on that one, man. You watched that whole match. Breaker took a beating, man. Especially outside of the ring. It wasn't like he hit him with a haluva kick out of the blue, and that was it. I mean, he was getting run into the ring steps. I mean, tables. I mean, or the announcer's desk. I mean, there was a lot going on his body. I mean, the story was being told.
He tweaked his knee.
Good that Sammy, so it's like this. Here's an example. See, somebody is 6'5", 350 pounds, running at you, right? I'm talking about dead coming straight at you, full speed ahead.
Top down.
What's your best move in that situation? Your best move is to allow his momentum to put him down, right?
Yeah.
Not you try to pick him up and and none of that stuff. No physical contact. Let his momentum do all the work. And I think Sammy did that in that match.
Sammy was very
go full speed ahead. He was trying to spear him and stuff. He was running to the ring post.
Yep.
Just the ring steps, the announcer's desk, all that stuff was like, that's exactly what happened. That's how Sammy outlasted him, because I mean it was just smart. So
yep.
I didn't think it was a bad idea. That wasn't bad. I mean, Sammy can't overpower him.
I mean, it looks like
that's a good point.
They're going to give it to him anyway at SummerSlam, it looks like, because it looks like they're going to have Ilya, and I hate to say it, take the pin over Sammy at SummerSlam when this happens.
Oh, this is about to affect my mood.
Listen, wait till you get into the Dominic Mysterio stuff, okay? Then you're good. I'm gonna be in the same boat as you. All right, everyone's got so much heat on this kid.
Wasn't it yesterday he was on speed in the match with Carmelo Hayes? Isn't that right? Or is it next Wednesday?
I think it's next Wednesday.
They may have filmed it for next Wednesday. This Wednesday was
that's a disgrace.
This Wednesday was Baron Corbin and
Angelo Dawkins.
Yes.
You couldn't find nobody. Really? You couldn't find nobody else? Red Dragon is out here doing speed.
Oh yeah, I don't understand speed at all. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not even trying to understand speed. My only point here is that I think you can't build them up like you did in NXT. Build them up to the level that you did, and then have them up here and not do anything.
They did that with a lot of those guys. Look at Dijak.
I know.
Dijak was being built up.
But this is the Red Dragon. This is different.
Well, I'm just saying, Yeah,
Mr. U's emotionally involved in this one, so it's different.
Maybe
I'm trying to get him to understand. He didn't understand. I'm trying to help him see.
If he started barking.
I'm biased about that. Are you getting that?
Yes,
is that coming through?
I get it. I get that. It's like me with Dominic.
You're that's just, I can't even compare it. That's worse than anything.
That is one of the only times I've ever heard Dominic Mysterio compared with Ilya Dragunov.
No, not comparing. No. I'm talking like when people start talking doo-doo on him, and I'm like, come on, man. Yeah, like I like the kid. I think he's gonna be something.
Yeah, no. Like is that's not the real actual word you want to use. You go ahead and use the word you want to use. You are in love with that.
Okay, listen.
I see your post, dude. I know what's going on. Come on.
All right, yeah. I like posting about Dominic, right?
Yeah, I get it. Okay. But anything else, Money in the Bank, that was kind of thought it was telling? I don't know, man. I mean, you guys kind of already said it. It wasn't a bad pay-per-view. In terms of the 5 matches, I'm always skeptical. I'm like, 5 matches. I always go into like, is it going to be enough to whet my appetite? Because, I'm watching the wrestling pay-per-view. I'm ready for it. I'm all in. I'm like, okay, 5 matches.
And I tell you, this card in this pay-per-view would have been 10 times better if they would have added 1 match to it. And it's the tag team match from SmackDown. The tag team match from SmackDown the night before, where DIY won against A-Town Down. That was a really good tag match. It's DIY with a title change. You'd have a title change on the pay-per-view, which they hardly ever do on main roster pay-per-views anymore. You don't hardly ever on the B pay-per-views. You hardly ever get a title change. That would have at least given some excitement and something cool to see outside of that, and that would have just created more buzz to have that on the pay-per-view, especially considering when they won the NXT titles for the first time. It was in Toronto on a PLE. Kind of the same callback in the same situation. That would have been a really cool. And it was only like a 15-minute match on SmackDown, so it's not like you would have killed your timing if you had added that in there. So they could have very easily increased the whole part of the pay-per-view by just adding that 1 match to it instead of having it on SmackDown.
You like it that much?
It's actually a good
match. Oh yeah, that match was really good.
Good match. Yeah.
No. That's not my point. That's not my point. I'm saying, you think that your view of the PLE would have changed that much if that was in it?
Yeah, because I mean, you've got another really good match. Again, you've got a title change during the pay-per-view, which they hardly ever do anymore. I mean, when's the last time can you think of it that a title change happened on a main roster WWE PLE?
Besides Glass,
I mean, you had the women's tag titles at Clash at the Castle, and that's about it since before WrestleMania. Maybe Liv winning, I guess, maybe because and I don't remember what PLE that happened at. Was that at a PLE? I mean, but you hardly ever get title changes anymore in the WWE on these smaller pay-per-views, and it just kind of gets repetitive after a while, which is another reason, again, why I liked Heatwave a little bit more, because I picked Ethan Page to win, but you're just seeing a main title change on the PLE, create some buzz for the next one. Because if every time you do it, you're not having a good title change, your world title doesn't change, your women's title doesn't change, whatever.
It depends on the
you
title.
start it's diminishing returns.
Bianca and Jay dropped the titles at a pay-per-view like that, right? Was that a small?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Clash at the Castle. Yeah, it was the women's tag team titles on Clash, which I don't know if we really count that as a big title change because it's the women's tag titles and nobody really pays attention to them anyway. But I'll count it because it is a title change. But yeah, I mean that's really the only one.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to dispute the point that the DIY title match wouldn't have made the pay-per-view better. That's not really what I'm trying to say. But would it have changed my view overall of it? I don't think so, because I feel like I was kind of a little bit over average with it already. I like the women's match a lot, probably more than the men's match, if I can be honest about it. The main title match, I was kind of just sitting here waiting for Punk to come out. That's like, this is what's going to happen, right? That's all I was waiting for. I'm like, this is what's going to happen tonight. So, well, that's another topic I want to try to get into that if we had time to get into it, because my question about that is, how do you book these guys when they're more than a novelty act? Because honestly, that stuff doesn't do anything for me anymore. Back in the days when Taker would rise up and go, rest in peace. That was all cool and stuff, but I was really into the matches, like him and Shawn Michaels. I was into the matches. So the novelty stuff, it don't really do a lot for me. That's you got to work hard to get me to care. So right now, I'm like with the Y6, I'm like, what can you do? And this is the open question to anybody that's listening. How can you book them where they won't be a novelty act and it be something, I mean, you got to put gold in these guys to make that thing work, and I don't see that happening, just because of how they're being portrayed. It's like you see them with title gold around it. It's like I don't see it. And now WWE had a trios championship belt. That's the only way I can see them having it in their hands. Yeah. I don't see none of them getting an IC title match. I don't see none of them getting a world title match. I don't see them getting a US title. I don't see it happening. So it's kind of like, it's a novelty, and I don't really like it. So,
well, if they book Uncle Howdy the right way, he is going for the world heavyweight title. Like, the whole idea is to make him look more what they had Bray Wyatt, like that not the supernatural feel, but like the dude is scary, So it's probably gonna go down as, okay, Gable is probably gonna go against Uncle Howdy at some point, but he's gonna go through him and he's gonna go through with whoever comes with him against Joey, Dexter, and then Bo. Oh no, hold on. There's one more before that. Eric Rowan. I had to think about the big red dude. Yeah, but they have to make him the final boss per se. Like, if you're gonna do this right and make him feel more like Bray Wyatt style, well, now he needs to be the final boss. He needs to be more scarier than what Eric Rowan's about to do, or Dexter Lumis, or Joey, or even Nikki. I mean, we're missing one more member, one more, right? And they're saying it's the spirit of Bray Wyatt. Well, why can't Bray Wyatt take over Bo, Uncle Howdy, and become world heavyweight champion like that? It's like Sister Abigail with Bray the whole time. That was his whole thing.
So, and it's funny you asked that tonight, because I actually had a discussion about that with somebody earlier today on Twitter. Where they kind of asked the same thing, because the vignettes, the intro, everything they've done so far has been really cool. I've loved the packages they've done with Bo talking to Uncle Howdy and kind of going back and forth and kind of that transition. And it's going to seem simple, and it may seem stupid when I say it, but there's one thing that they can do that will make booking this faction easier going forward. Because right now, the way you're doing it, you're building him up as a supernatural threat to where anytime, if anyone beats him, it kind of kills that whole vibe.
Yep.
The one thing that you can do, and it's the smallest change to me, is take away the fog when they come in. Because every time the lights go out and all that, you start seeing that fog come up from nowhere, and then somebody starts appearing, which gives it more of that supernatural feel. So where all you do is you take that fog away and, like, say, have Nikki Cross come out from under the ring, do the same little creepy walk to the desk, give him the video, walk away, go back under the ring, give that a little context, and it takes that from a supernatural vibe to more of a psychological vibe. And on the psychological gimmick like that, if they were to happen to lose later on, it doesn't hurt them as much because they're still just normal people. They kind of alluded to that in the last video where you saw their actual faces and then went to the mask, because they had those little cuts where you would see, Ramblin' Rabbit cut to Eric Rowan and back, and that kind of the same way they did with Uncle Howdy. So they've got kind of into the psychological aspect of it there, but just the adding the fog, because that's what you see in horror movies. You see fog rolling in, and then the big bad comes through. And I get it's a cool visual, but to book them going forward, I think if you got rid of that, it makes it easier. Because if, like you said, if you're going to make Uncle Howdy the final boss, you have to beat the other ones to get to him. Because if you don't win, in any video game, if you don't beat the lower level bosses, you never make it to the final boss. So if they're going to take a loss, you can't have all these supernatural entities that they're building them up to be start taking losses right at the beginning. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, I get that.
I'm with you on that one. Let's go ahead and jump in the heat wave.
We're
kind of having a lot of fun where we're at, and we got off course a little bit. But here's the card for heat wave. How did I look on prediction? I'm trying to remember what. I don't think I did good on this one either. I think I had.
Can we talk about Oba's freaking entrance? Yeah,
he's a monster. I think me and Big Mike are already fans in. So
I like this guy.
So I like this guy. I love everything they did with him so far. I love how they. And I'll always say this. This is just a one-shot deal here. But they put the title on him so early. That's usually taboo in a lot of cases, but in this case, it made so much sense.
Yeah,
such a physical specimen, man. It's like you got all your talent. Well, a good deal of your talent just got called up to the main roster, and it's like you needed something. I mean, imagine if you wasn't here right now.
Yeah,
it'd be it'd be a big black hole in the roster. No offense. But it was he needed to be there. So put the title on him was really smart. I wouldn't have said the world title, but this title right here made a lot of sense. He's been running with it. He's been dominant. I don't even want to see him lose. I'd rather him just get the world title and just that makes more sense. But nobody on this roster that I can see, if you want to stay in the realistic realm of this, that can tangle with this man. I mean, he's a beast, man. He's what Monty Williams could have been if he had last name Williams. Yeah, Monty Williams from TNA. He almost has that kind of. He reminds me of that a little bit. But this guy's man, Oba Femi is incredible, man. This was an incredible pay-per-view because he was in it, and the match that him and Wesley put on, it was phenomenal, man. That whole Dead Man's Live thing, I like. There were some spots I'm like, come on.
What was that? What were we calling that? The F5000 now? Like he just chucked him in the air and spun him 4 times, Like, good God.
Yeah.
I was already ready impressed as soon as he was walking down the ring, man, and just like the whole way through. I was like, yeah, it just gave me Brock Lesnar vibes when he was going around the ring, circling like a great white. I was like, this guy's just walking down there, like I'm about to kill this man. Like I like it, and this kid can't do nothing. I was like, oh my God.
I got 5 out of the 6 matches.
Nice.
But Mike and I seem to prefer this one over Money in the Bank. It wasn't because they had more matches or anything. I don't think that was it. But I think it was just.
I enjoyed the main event.
That pre-show match where I tried, but I told you before.
Yeah, I forgot there was a pre-show match. I think I saw like the last minute of that match. So that's.
I don't. So I wasn't invested, and I said that before the match even happened. Yeah, I couldn't do it. But I was hoping for a heel turn in the North American women's title match.
Great match.
I feel like it was necessary. It was a great match. This is going to sound like a blasphemy if you love NXT and you love Soul Ruka. What I'm going to say, it's going to sound like blasphemy. I don't mean it to sound that way, but the move, her Soul Snatcher, I like it, but it's really, really tough to pull it off like Randy pulled off an RKO.
Yeah.
He literally can do it from anywhere. You can't do this one from anywhere.
Yeah.
You got to be in a certain position in order to do it. So I would love for her to add something else to her repertoire, add a couple of other finishes. I think that would be helpful. I think it'd be more believable. You're trying to hit a Soul Snatcher at any given point in time. It's not going to fly right. Case in point, that match. It happened in that match, and I was like, "Ooh, that didn't look good." It wasn't a botch, but it was as close to a botch as you can get. So I was hoping for a heel turn. I thought it was a better dynamic than the whole friendship deal, but that's not what happened. They kind of kept it going the way it's been going, so it's what it is. The Roxanne, I mean, we knew they were going to keep this going. Lola Vice didn't really have a chance in this match. I don't know how you guys felt about the tag team match. I was kind of like, whatever. I mean,
I don't like Axiom.
It's kind of hard. I mean, the personality is like he's still working on it, but it's like it's taking a while.
Mm-hmm. They had really good spots in the tag team match though. But with the Spanish Fly, with Duke Hudson and Axiom,
nice.
The whole when Chase broke up the pinfall and then went into a Canadian Destroyer right after, because he jumps on the back of the pin. I mean, it was a really good match. That was the only match I got wrong out of the night because I thought Chase U would win with all of the stuff with Axiom and Frazier that had been going on.
Wait. Your only match. How about that?
That's the only match I got wrong that night.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't pick Trick?
No, I picked Ethan Page. I said that earlier. I picked Ethan Page before that.
He said, yeah.
I knew that was coming.
I need to see that picture because I don't think that's what.
I'll go back and tag you on Twitter on it. and I will say the only reason I got 4 out of 5 is because I didn't pick the pre-show match. Because I probably would have picked I probably would have picked the heels to win in the pre-show match just to make it a better story. But I didn't technically pick that because the one I had only had 5 matches on it. I didn't have this graphic. But yeah, I went 4 out of 5 on that one.
This is proof of what the challenge they have on this roster. That's your pre-show match. That tells you that's a great indicator of what's going on talent wise. Yeah. They don't have enough of this. I hope they bring other folks in from other places. Bring in Julia. Bring in Stephanie. I'm not pronouncing her last name.
Vacour.
Yeah, bring her in and bring them in quick because this roster needs help. And matter of fact,
and Julia would have been at this pay-per-view. She hadn't got hurt at the Marigold show. She was slated to spend maybe 2 or 3 shows in Marigold to kind of get them started and then come here. But in that first Marigold main event, she fractured her wrist, so it pushed everything back. So she was supposed to be at this show. She was really supposed to be in the Lola Vice match. She was supposed to be in that place there.
Really?
But just the injury and things like that is pushing her debut back. I don't know if she'll make it in by SummerSlam. I don't know if Stephanie Vacour is going to step into that because Shawn Michaels has already said she's already headed to Orlando because she's got rid of all her other indie dates and everything like that. So I don't know if they're going to try to push her in as kind of a surprise. But yeah, she was actually slated for the Heat Wave women's title match there a while back.
That didn't happen because she had dropped the belt. I mean, dropped the match. That wouldn't have been good. Not the way they're hyping her up. I wouldn't want to. I'm glad this is how it went down because Julia's in this match. I feel like she has to win it. I don't care if it's a surprise. Yeah. She has to. She can't lose that match. That's just my opinion. And I heard about the Motor City Machine Gun, which I'm excited about. I've been a big fan of them since TNA. I'm like, bring them in. The whole tag team division improved dramatically. Honestly,
big time.
It needs it.
Oh, it does.
No offense, but Frazier and Axiom, whatever their names are, the Supersonic Soul Brothers, whatever they are. It's not working for me. You know what I'm saying? It brings me to another question I want to ask you guys, but you got so much stuff going on. Maybe I shouldn't do it. But how do you fix the tag team division, man? Because this needs help. Machine guns are help, but how do you fix this? Because they got. Can you guys see the problems I'm seeing?
You can't just rely on. You can't just rely on them. You can't rely on them. You can't just rely on the machine.
I know.
But you got to go out and you got to go steal guys from AEW that they got right now. Go get the Gun Club brothers. Go get those kids. You know, I mean, I know they are, but I mean, the contract has got to be coming up soon, right?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I mean, steal somebody else.
But see, that's the thing.
It's so much talent. They got so much talent. Like they can't even use them all. Get them guys that's not working.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do. You need to go through and find a few guys that can pair together on some dark matches and maybe on Level Up to test their chemistry before you put them on NXT. Is because you just don't have a lot of actual teams. I mean, you've got Gallus, you've got Chase U. You know, we've already said Axiom and Frazier. They're still kind of a put together team, even though they're the champions right now. But after, Gallus and Chase U, who are your tag teams? You've got OTM. You've got.
I love them, but they ain't getting no love right now. I love them though. I love OTM.
Well, they just got that win over the Good Brothers on Tuesday, so I mean that may elevate them a little bit.
I want. Look, have you seen them guys?
Yeah, I've seen it. No, they 100% deserve to win that match. Oh yeah, them two, and then you throw Jada Parker in there with them. Oh yeah,
you got Malik and the No Face. That's another tag team,
and they're okay. I'm not really high on those two guys. I don't know something about their. I don't know if it's just a gimmick or something just doesn't connect with me with that tag team. And you've kind of broken up. You had a decent tag team in the Dawn and Stacks, who worked well together. They were together as the Dawn and the Underboss, but now they've kind of focused more Tony D'Angelo on single stuff, so they're not doing tag teams there. So you kind of essentially broken up a tag team. You had the Creed brothers go to Raw, so you lost probably your most well-oiled machine kind of tag team, your best tag team to Raw. I mean, you've got to be able to find some guys and put them together on some dark matches, let them build some chemistry, and then introduce them as tag teams. Because everybody else, other than the couple that we did, is just, and maybe they'll do it next year's Dusty Classic. When that comes back up, because you can put teams together like you've done in the past. Put just two random guys together that just want to win, that haven't been tag team champions or haven't been tag team, and let them go at it. But can't wait that long. But I mean, it's hard. I don't know when the next Dusty Cup is, so I'm not sure.
Together. I don't think Luca's injured because he's been in a suit for a long time. He should be healed by now. Luca and Stacks can work together. I mean, they can do a whole bunch of stuff, but they just don't seem to take the initiative to do it, man. As far as the No Fear and Malik go, I feel like they need to go almost a private party route in AEW. Go that route.
That may be better.
I think it'll help them because right now we don't care about that.
Exactly.
So I think that'll be a way for us to get involved more into it.
Hell, you didn't even mention who is it, Hank and Tank or whatever. I'm not going to either. I mean, I just don't care about them. The only tag team I really care about is Chase U because they've built a story around them, and they've been around for a while. I mean, that's really the only tag team that's NXT proper that really you care about as a team. OTM's building up to that, because they're still fairly new. They've had 5 or 6 matches. Like I said, just beat a main roster tag team, so they're definitely building them up to be a future challenger. But and part of the reason for this is because of having tag teams coming down. You've got New Catch Republic. You've had the Good Brothers. You've had a lot of other tag teams come from the main roster to fill that void instead of building stuff up. It's always great to see main roster talent come in, but you can overdo it, and I think they've overdone it with the tag team division, and it hurts the development of some of your other tag teams. And I think that may be part of the problem as well.
But before we get into the world title match, I want to get into that before we move on. But I got to say this about the Chase U deal because, and every time that we do a show, I'm probably going to talk about this because I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? Being a creative myself and an author and stuff, I think about story. And I heard you say about Chase U. I'm like, but it's not that I don't agree with you. I don't agree that, that I'm invested in him. I'm not. I'm saying, and there's a whole bunch of reasons why I'm not. Because they have these stories that they kind of throw out there, especially with this particular group. For some reason, they get the stories like this, and they don't flesh it out. They don't, they don't kind of complete the journey. But the whole thing with the gambling thing, that was obscure, and it didn't make any sense. It wasn't explained well, and it's like, and then they had JC Jane coming in there to save the university. It was like it didn't make any sense. The whole gambling thing. I was thinking, like, you know what, Duke was the one gambling, but Chase, Chase took the heat for him. I mean, I was thinking all kind of stuff. I seen Duke give it a turn on them a couple of times, and nothing ever happened, came out of it. Now you got Ridge in there, bringing a different dynamic that nobody knows where it's going. And then you had a Thea story that they cut short. I mean, it's no continuity, and you can't. They're not doing that anywhere else, but just with these people, they're doing that with them. It's not fair to them. Finish. You're gonna start a story, finish it.
Yep.
You want to be invested in it, work the story. I'm not invested because they keep on starting something and they cut it short. And everybody in there, with the exception of the young man from Australia, I'm bringing on his name right now, but he's in Chase U. Aside from that, the rest of them had stories that got cut short. Riley Osborne. Other than him, they all had stories that have been cut short and they haven't been completed. And you ain't about to, if you look at it honest to goodness, if you look at the crowd when they come out, it's nowhere near the kind of pop they used to get.
Yeah,
it's lesser, and it feels like it's dropping every week because it's not. Even when he does his signature, spelling his name out, I'm saying less people are doing it every single week.
Yeah,
that they're out there. They lose their taste for it because we know that they're almost a novelty act right now. They're not. We can't take them seriously. Because everything they start, they don't finish. They got 4 stories. I just named 4 stories. None of them have been finished yet. None of them been completed to the point where imagine if they did it with the bloodline. People would be in outrage.
And you mentioned Riley Osborne. He did kind of have a start-stop one as well with the whole Thea Hale and him. How she had a crush on him, and they were kind of getting together, and that just kind of went by the wayside and didn't finish. So he's had one of those too. So I can understand what you're saying. I see it. You know
what I'm saying? So I just want to kind of just put that out there. But
yeah,
world title match. You said you picked Ethan Page. I did not. I thought Trick was going to get it just out of not him getting a pin, but him. Well, yeah, he has to get the pin, but I saw him retaining that. I didn't see this happen. I really didn't. I'm glad it happened, but I didn't see that happening. But I did talk to you about this. I don't know how many weeks ago it was. Spade, you weren't here, but I wonder if you heard that show, if you watched it. But I was talking to Big Mike about the Trick Williams reign. Said I just felt like I'm glad they beat Carmelo. I was excited about that part because of how they built the story up. But I was like, okay, we can go ahead and move on now. I was ready to go. I was almost like Sammy and Cody. I was ready to go. I'm like, okay, you did it. You beat Gunther. You beat the Tribal Chief.
Yeah.
I go and get that with somebody else. I mean, that's how I feel about Trick. So I'm glad to see that result because I think Ethan Page is going to do a lot more with it. But what do you guys think about the title match as a whole? Do you think it was a good deal? I mean, Javon Evans is a stud, man. He was fantastic in that match. He made that thing happen.
That dive that he did, and he hit Williams into the barricade, and that barricade broke awkwardly like it did. Oh man, I was like, damn, move over Montez Ford. This dude, this is a guy.
Yeah, that was actually the what I said when I saw that happen. I was like, wow, that's Montez Jr. there.
Exactly.
he's doing the same stuff. Yeah, I mean,
man.
he was definitely the MVP of the match. With a lot of stuff that he did.
I did say they were gonna make him look good.
Yeah. I mentioned on our prediction show, the reason I thought they would go with Ethan Page is because they want a more veteran champion now. We talked about a lot of the inexperience and stuff that's in NXT. Having somebody like Ethan Page, or even if Shawn Spears had won, that gives you a good veteran who can go in and have matches with a lot of your upper tier guys in that main event scene, and really they can learn from him. in those matches. They can learn how to structure a match. They can learn how to work a match, while you're on TV, while you're in a main event. So I think that's one of the things that they can do, why they made him the champion. And of course, Trick's going to get his rematch, especially the way they did it. That was one of the more creative finishes. I think it was a callback to a Shawn Michaels match from like the early 2000s where they had a similar finish, but it's a very creative finish. They don't do it very often.
Probably his idea.
And I thought it was really well. Probably. He's done that a lot. He's done like a lot of his old career highlights in new forms for NXT recently. There's been a couple. I can't remember exact examples. Maybe I can go back and do some research for the next show. But I mean, it was really cool and inventive the way they did it, and it puts the belt on somebody who deserves it because he came in. He's on fire. He's really came in and was automatically really the biggest heel on the roster in NXT at this point. After you lose Carmelo Hayes, who had become that when he turned on Trick. So you've got that big ego, for lack of a better term, to be your heel, and plus you have the veteran there who can teach some of the main event tier guys in NXT how to go like a veteran.
Yeah. Wow. When you mentioned Sean Spears, I'm sitting like, I can't even see him as the champion. And that's sad. After all this time in the game, you should be able to do that kind of stuff. I just feel like it's like I wonder if this is like close to the end for him, man. Because I'm like, you're not getting it here. AEW, we should have got it. They called him the chairman. That was like he should have been ready to go some places, and it kind of flamed out. Now he's here in the title match, but it's not a one-on-one title match. It's a four-way. I'm saying, it's hard to see him.
He's been more into training behind the scenes. He actually has a wrestling school that he's been running for a while. It's actually him and Tyler Breeze that used to be in NXT as Prince Pretty. They actually have a wrestling school. I think it's called Flatbacks or something like that down in Florida, where they've been, teaching wrestling and stuff like that. So he's really big into teaching other wrestlers. He could easily become a coach and kind of have that kind of role where he's still on screen, still being a coach as well. But no, I mean, I'm with you. Then that's why I picked Ethan Page instead of him. I just don't see him as a main event title holder.
Before we get into our next topic, which is probably one of our most historic on this show so far, I would love to see Scorpio Sky come back and help Ethan Page out. That man was amazing, man. What happened to him? He just disappeared. I'm talking about the Invisible Man. He just disappeared. I'm like, I don't know if he's working. I don't know if he has a contract. If he doesn't, he's a free agent. Shawn Michaels better snatch that man up real quick. Could you imagine?
Nice.
Could you imagine Ethan Page and Trick in a one-on-one title match for the title, and Scorpio Sky comes in, and that'd be amazing. But that's just me though. I'm just fantasy booking. Let's go ahead and jump into our likely last topic for the night, probably. But Big Mike, you were on this and you were talking about it, and we were talking about it offline, and you got some things to share. But go ahead, guys, share. You heard that John Cena announced his retirement. Next year is going to be his last year. I think he's going to close everything down in December, I guess, of next year. That presents a lot of questions because everybody was immediately thinking, okay, are you going to be wrestling on all the major pay-per-views? Are you going to be wrestling in spots? Are you going to be fulfilling dream matches that people had in store for you? What are you guys thinking about the retirement and his opportunities going into next year? What were you guys thinking?
So, I mean, I think it's cool that he's announced that he's doing 30 to 40 dates. So you're obviously going to get a good bit of John Cena. And I want to say I heard a report that he is actually not in any kind of creative control for it. So it's what the fans and what the company wants him to do, from what I've heard. Obviously, I'm sure he's got veto power if it's something he doesn't think it makes sense. But I mean, having an entire year like that to build it up, I think is really cool. Rather than having 3 dates and then, hey, I'm going to wrestle it. Just the 3 he mentioned: the Royal Rumble, the Chamber, and WrestleMania, and that's it. Because you don't have the chance to build a story. So you can actually build a decent story with him with 30 to 40 or so dates, and still get some of those dream matches, which I think it will be really good. And then ending up in December next year, he can have one final match, wherever that may be.
Okay. Spit.
I think maybe we should give him the 17th at the end. Not really. I don't think he deserves. I think he deserves it, but I don't think he deserves it right now. Not right now. If we did it a couple of years ago, that's fine. But right now, you could put him in those matches, make someone look good, and whatnot. I don't think you give him the 17th, but his final match in my book should be against one of his greatest rivals, and that would be Randy Orton. Those two had a phenomenal matches, promos against each other. The Orton angry era years with John Cena still cooking them on the mic. It's those two always put on a great match. I think that should be his final one. I think that, you don't bring back Batista for a match, even though one of the greatest last man standing matches ever happened was Batista versus John Cena. Taped his legs right up on the post and said, "What's up? Get up now." And then, but yeah, Cena, I think what Big Mike said, build it up, which is nice. He's got 30 to 40, you said, coming up?
They announced 30 to 40. They may do some more, maybe somewhere in there, but they announced 30 to 40 on the Money in the Bank post-match.
One of those is going to be Saudi Arabia. Yeah. John's going to get a big payday one more time before he goes.
Y'all really want to see Cena and Orton again?
Oh, I would love to see Cena or Orton one more
I would
time.
like that to be one of his matches. I don't want that to be his last match. And I go and
He's not young anymore, right?
What?
You guys get that?
Yeah.
Cena's not young anymore, right? Have you seen him in his last few matches? You seen him wrestle? It's not the same, right?
Oh, he's not the same. You stay out of the ring as long as he does.
His movements is not. It's
no,
not.
We say the same thing about Sheamus. He can't even turn his head. He has to turn the whole body now. It's the guys that we grew up with, man. They're all just not grew up, but the guys that we've been watching, from teenagers out, are now just getting out. And it's crazy in my book.
And that's the advantage of him doing a full year rather than a couple of dates. He's going to have more time to train than he did for any of these other matches, like when he did Austin Theory at WrestleMania, things like that. He was doing that while he was filming. If he's going to dedicate his time to train and get back in, he's not that old. He's 40s. There are guys that are plenty older than him that are doing a lot of the same stuff. It's because they have time to train. If he focuses on his in-ring and training and doing that instead of focusing on Hollywood and just coming in, which it sounds like he's going to do, I think he could still have really good John Cena matches. He's never been a technical classic kind of guy. He's never been Bret Hart. He's never been Mr. Perfect. No. But for what John Cena gives you, he can still come in and have great matches if he focuses on the training. And I think he's going to do that.
If Ric Flair can wrestle at 70-something years old, John Cena can do it in his 40s, right? I think he can give us one more year in his 40s.
Fine wrestle.
Okay, if he can flop around like a magic carp at 70 years old and still bleed somehow, then John Cena can definitely do this.
Right. Check out ladies' comments here. Randy Orton is pretty. I'd watch that. Lady. I don't know.
But I do think Randy Orton is somebody he needs to face just because of the history.
Yes.
He does need to face him at some point throughout the year.
Yes.
And for anybody that follows me knows I put up a top 5 who I think John Cena on the run-in page. There's a top 5 video of who I think the 5 people should be, and I ended up going one who I think should be the final match more selfishly. There's really 2 that I think it could be to make sense. But really, to me. So the top 5 number 5 is I want to tag team with R-Truth. I want him and R-Truth to win a tag team title belt so they have their name in history together, because I think that's really cool. I think CM Punk should be in there. I think Randy Orton should be in there. And then the top 2, who really it's more of a 1A, 1B, is I want to see him wrestle Gunther, and I want to see him wrestle Oba Femi. And I want him to lose to both. No, wait, hear me out.
He's going to lose to Gunther.
Oh, yeah.
He should lose to both. Flashback to 2016, what he did for Kevin Owens on Kevin Owens' debut match, which, we talked about John Cena's favorite matches. That's probably my second favorite John Cena match, because he took the time to put Kevin Owens over and made Kevin Owens a star on the main roster.
Oh, yeah.
Because he beat him on his first match on a pay-per-view debut match, and it just skyrocketed Kevin Owens after that. You know, and to me,
who's the
that's my
first one?
second favorite. My first favorite, my first one was Obafemi, because again, you're a year and a half in the future. You're a year and a half in the future. You've had Obafemi who have at least made a debut. Because that's what you're supposed. That's what wrestlers are supposed. They're not necessarily supposed to die. You're supposed to. Most wrestlers that are retiring goes out on your back.
You talk about
That's
age.
the whole thing.
I'm talking about injuries, and you can tell it's not even age.
He wrestled Brock Lesnar just a couple of years ago, didn't he?
I would love to watch him wrestle Gunther, but Gunther would kill him in the ring right now. Even if he got 6 months
When
straight.
You hit the ropes, man, you can tell.
Yeah,
it's not age. It's the years on his body.
Yeah,
it's like that's the point of a legend retiring. Legends are supposed to go out on their back, losing to the next big star and catapulting that person up to being the next big star. Getting beat by Gunther, getting beat by somebody like Obafemi come next December after Obafemi's built up, won the NXT title, made the main roster debut, or even if that is his main roster debut against John Cena, I'd be okay with that. Kind of the same way they called back to Kevin Owens and kind of strapping the rocket to him when he beat John Cena. I don't think there's any better way for John Cena, who somebody respects the business, has been in the WWE and in the business as long as he has. I think that would be his preference, would be going out losing and putting over the next talent for the universe to go forward.
Yeah, I never really seen John Cena as a putting over person fan. Yeah, in his career, he had plenty of people. He had plenty of people that he could do it, and he sat there on a few of them.
You don't think he put over Kevin Owens? You don't think he put over Bray Wyatt? You don't think he put over?
I'm saying throughout his career, he's done put over some guys, but there's other guys that he could have put over in his career too.
Well, you can say that about anybody. And if you're going to win titles, there are going to be people you don't put over. I mean, look at Ric Flair, look at Jericho, look at Triple H, look at Kurt Angle. You've got to beat people to win stuff. So there's got to be people that you can't put over at that point. It's just the nature of the business.
This conversation. There's no way that I'm looking at because I write, I keep notes and stuff. I got so much material for this show. I got enough material for like about 15. I mean, seriously, like 15 shows. We can't get to none of this stuff. This right here, even this topic, it has legs on it. I'm like, we should be digging into this a whole lot deeper. But we ain't got time for it tonight, or we can't do it. We can dig into this so much deeper, man. I'm like, about the match. For me, I want to see him face the final boss. I mean, that's what I mean. Cause
they're 1-1. They are 1-1.
Similar in styles and the physical part. You know what I'm saying? It's just like this can go on, man.
Rubber match, 1-1 rubber match. It'd be like Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson in their 50s.
Great point by ladies. Yeah, I think it would be nice to cap his career with the last match with Roman Reigns.
That would be a nice match. They outside
interference from the bloodline. That'd be interesting to see that happen. I don't know how you get the bloodline out of that match. That'd be the thing. I want to talk about Rhea Ripley real quick, and then we can go ahead and shut it down for the night. So, you guys watch Raw. You saw Liv and Dom, which is Spence love child, get the win. And honestly, I don't know if I was just busy, but I wasn't even thinking about Rhea Ripley. It didn't cross my mind. I said somebody from Judgment Day might come out, but I didn't think about her at all. When that music hit,
I
stopped what I was doing. I'm like, I can see my own face. It was like, oh snap, this is really happening right now. I thought it was like somebody playing the music. It was fake and it wasn't a real person coming out. I seen her. I said, really her for real? Here she comes, like, oh wow! And Liv played it really well, man. She
got the heck out of there.
That was fantastic. So glad to see that she's back. Hopefully, she's physically ready. I guess she must be to do that, and good to go into SummerSlam with that. But what do you guys think about the return of the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley, Bloody Ripley?
I'm kind of with you. I thought it was a surprise on Monday night, especially because they hit it on the nose so many times throughout the night. With Damian Priest being on the phone saying, hey, where you at? With everybody else with the Judgment Day he's already saw. So you knew it was somebody he knew. The whole thing about, Dom's gonna find out later on tonight after his match or during his match or whatever, he mentioned that, earlier, it's very rarely that WWE just hits the nail on the head, hits the point on the nose, so to speak, to say this is going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Usually they'll do that, and then nothing happens at the end of the night, and then they'll do it next week as a swerve. So it was a difference, and that's what kind of made it more surprising, is that they had so many teases about it leading up to that, because they usually don't tease that night what's going to happen like that.
Yeah. Spid. How about you, Will?
Listen. I love that she's back, but this is giving me flashbacks to Eddie in China. All right, it really is. Dom's gonna be on his knees. Please, mommy, take me back. I'm sorry. Lo siento. And then he's gonna go bazonkers on her, like
Don't you
Eddie.
think it's on purpose?
Man, they're doing the whole Eddie thing. It's obvious.
Of course they are.
Yeah, so
Of course they are.
It's like if they're listen.
What do you think all this is all about?
Yeah, I love it. But
Yeah.
listen, he's gonna beg Rhea to take him back, and if he turns on Rhea, I'm been on record already.
Will.
I've been on record already. If he chooses Liv over Rhea, I'm done with him.
I mean,
Okay,
Liv did help him beat his dad, where Rhea couldn't.
Listen,
I mean, she's already got a leg up. I'm just saying.
We're acknowledging that. Dom got the win.
But it was in a tag match with Liv. That's a tag team match.
It was.
I shared it online. This was exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, Dom didn't beat his dad when he tagged with Rhea, because they had a tag match with Zelina and Ray a while back with Rhea and Dom, and they didn't win that match. Same match. The only difference is Liv Morgan.
Yeah, that's
he's going to create massive heel heat, and he's going to turn on Rhea, and probably think he's down with Finn and Liv and whoever. He's going to get dropped. He'll be out there solo all by himself, kicked out of the group.
Just wait for that mixed tag team with Rhea and Damian Priest against Dominic and Liv.
The twin
it's
terrors. They're terror twins, whatever.
All right. Well, this was fun, guys. We had fun as usual. Thanks to everybody out there listening and watching us out here having fun talking about wrestling. That's definitely what we do. You see some social media posts from us soon enough with some more polls and some questions for you guys to ponder as we move into our next episode, which hopefully should be in hopefully pretty soon, because SummerSlam is coming up pretty quick. So thanks again for joining. Any closing thoughts, guys, before we close out? Any thoughts for the fans and our listeners?
Just thank you.
Dominic Mysterio will be IC champion by next year.
No, he won't.
Watch.
No, you won't.
They threw that North American
he
title
could be
on
the
him.
speed champion this time next year.
No, they put that North American title on him pretty quick. I think they'll put the IC title on him when he's got major heat.
I didn't get that, but I guess it did help him kind of get some. I didn't understand that title.
Oh, it gave him a lot of heat doing that. They just threw a title on him, and then he's going Raw with that title. And then
I talked to you about it, and you didn't like my comments because you're like, "Oh, he deserves it."
He does deserve it.
He put eyeballs on the product. If that's what you want to go for, that's what he did.
He did.
Kind of the same way you and I talked about Logan Paul earlier. It's kind of that same thing.
They already had people doing that.
Nah,
he was going down there. They already had folks doing it. They didn't need his help. Come on, man. Let's get out of here, guys, man. This has been fun, man. We got to go, man. Have a great day, and be looking out on our social media platform for our next episode of the Thursday Night Triple Threat with Big Mike, Sped, and your boy, Mr. U. Have a great day.
Have a good night.